The relationship between the two most powerful entities in the world of motorsports has hit a rough patch. The FIA and Formula One are on the brink of an all-out war, with disagreements and tensions simmering between the two. The recent tweets from FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem have only fueled the fire, causing a rift between the FIA and F1. But what exactly is this open war about? First of all, let's look at bin Sulayem's tweets. He criticized the reaction to Andretti's partnership with General Motors, but it was his questioning of the value of Formula One that really got under the skin of F1 bosses. And that's not all. With the reported $20 billion Saudi Arabian takeover bid of F1, bin Sulayem once again took to Twitter to suggest that the figure was inflated. This led to a reaction from Liberty Media, the owners of F1, who sent a letter to the FIA president suggesting he had overstepped his boundaries. So, what's going on here? Sky Sports pundit Karun Chandhok described the situation as an open war. He said, "I think the relationship is on the edge at the moment between the FIA and Formula One. I think publicly last year they were playing nice, although we all know from within the paddock and behind the scenes it was all getting a bit fractious, but from the letters that have been fired across, it's clear now it's open war." But what exactly is the conflict about? Martin Brundle, a former Formula One driver, also weighed in on the situation. He said that the relationship between the FIA and F1 was a lot more comfortable when Bernie Ecclestone and Max Mosley were in charge. Now, Mohammed bin Sulayem has come in and he's very much stating the case that, hey, I'm in charge around here, the FIA calls the shots, we'll decide who's coming on the grid and who's not. And that seems to me to be quite a crossover into the commercial realms. So, what does this mean for the future of Formula One? Brundle added, "I can see more and more of this briefing off record and the head-to-head while Stefano at Formula One and bin Sulayem at the FIA decide who's calling the shots. It's no secret that Liberty Media has worked hard to improve the popularity of Formula One and increase the value of the sport. But with the recent tensions between the FIA and F1, it seems like it's a battle between F1 boss Stefano Domenicali and bin Sulayem to decide who's calling the shots. And what about the teams and the fans? What impact will this open war have on them?" Sky's pit lane reporter Ted Kravitz said that it was the tweet about the sport's value that really annoyed Formula One bosses. He suggested, "I think the bin Sulayem tweet, when he was talking about the value of Formula One, that was what really annoyed Formula One. He was talking about the inflated value of Formula One. I think that's what the teams felt was overstepping his mark." Now, let's delve into the current state of the relationship between the FIA and Formula One. It's no secret that tensions have been rising between these two powerful groups in the world of motorsports, and the situation has been described as an open war. The source of the tension mostly stems from the FIA president Mohammed bin Sulayem's recent tweets against the Formula One management. In his tweets, bin Sulayem criticized the reaction to Andretti's partnership with General Motors and questioned the value of Formula One. But the real catalyst for this open war was when bin Sulayem took to Twitter to suggest that the reported $20 billion takeover bid of F1 by Saudi Arabia was inflated. This caused a reaction from Liberty Media, the owners of F1, who reportedly sent a letter to the FIA president suggesting he had overstepped his bounds. So what does this all mean for the future of Formula One? According to Sky Sports pundit Karun Chandhok, the relationship between the FIA and Formula One is on the edge, and it's clear that it's an open war between the two sides. I think the president of the FIA put some very strong tweets out which the owners of Formula One and Formula One boss Stefano Domenicali didn't take well, Chandhok says. It seems there's a degree of confusion as to Mohammed bin Sulayem, implying that the FIA should have control over the value of F1 and who it's sold to. Martin Brundle also weighed in on the situation, comparing it to the more comfortable partnership between Bernie Ecclestone and Max Mosley in the past. Brundle says that the current situation is a battle between Domenicali and bin Sulayem to decide who calls the shots in the world of Formula One. So, what does the future hold for the FIA and Formula One? Will this open war continue into the season? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. The motorsports world is watching and waiting with bated breath. Monetization is a hot topic in the world of Formula One, and the recent tensions between the FIA and F1 only add to the growing concern over how the sport is generating revenue. One major area of monetization for Formula One is sponsorship deals. Sponsors have long been a key source of income for the sport, and companies such as Coca-Cola, Heineken, and Pirelli all invest heavily in the sport. These companies benefit from the massive global audience that Formula One attracts, with millions of fans tuning in to watch each race. Another important area of monetization for Formula One is television rights. In recent years, the sport has seen a significant increase in the value of its TV rights, with broadcasters such as Sky Sports and NBC paying huge amounts of money to secure the rights to show races live. This has helped to boost the sport's revenue, and has also helped to increase its visibility around the world. In addition to these two areas of monetization, Formula One also benefits from various other sources of revenue. For example, it generates revenue from trackside advertising and from the sale of merchandise. There is also a growing market for virtual racing, with platforms such as F1 esports attracting significant interest from fans and investors. So, what does the future hold for Formula One's monetization efforts? Well, there are a number of factors that will likely impact the sport's ability to generate revenue in the coming years. For example, the growth of other motorsports and sports events could impact Formula One's popularity, and the shift towards electric vehicles could also have an impact on the sport's appeal to fans and investors. In addition, there are also concerns over the sustainability of the sport's business model. The rising costs of developing and running a car in Formula One means that teams are increasingly relying on sponsors and other sources of revenue to support their operations. This could make it harder for teams to compete, and could also impact the sport's ability to attract new teams and drivers. Despite these challenges, however, it seems likely that Formula One will continue to be a highly lucrative and popular sport for years to come. With its massive global audience, strong brand recognition, and long history of success, Formula One is well positioned to continue generating significant amounts of revenue in the future. And now, we pose some thought-provoking questions to consider. How will this tension between the FIA and Formula One affect the future of the sport? Can the two sides come to a resolution and work together for the betterment of Formula One? Will this open war escalate, or will cooler heads eventually prevail? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We can't wait to see what the future holds for the FIA and Formula One, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on any developments. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting motorsports content.